Hannah Dixon.
What's up, Beck Power?
Hey BFF, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. Where are you quarantining?
I am in Austria. It's pretty chill here, actually. How about you? Well, I know where you are. You're in Mexico, right?
Yeah, it's hot here. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Chill there, hot here.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have you as my first interview for the Create More Content podcast. And we have so many things to catch up on because we haven't really talked that much, even though we've both been in quarantine. I don't know. I mean, I know it's quarantine, but because I made this like little song called "Will You Be My Quarantine," I keep saying quarantine.
I wondered why you said it like that. I was going to pull you up, but I thought maybe we'll do it after the interview.
Oh yeah, no, I was trying to be funny when I said that, but it is why I do it. I don't really understand. So today we are going to chat a little bit about content, how you create content, how you advise freelancers to create content. But first, why don't you give us some background on who you are, what you do, all that kind of stuff. Just like a 1 minute summary.
1 minute. I mean, that's pretty long. All right. So my name's Hannah Dixon. I'm Beck's BFF. I'm in Austria right now. You already know all that stuff. So I've been working online for probably about 7 years now. I've been traveling for 12 years. So I'm what people call a digital nomad. And I started out as a virtual assistant, which if you don't know what that is, it's someone who assists people virtually. So it's kind of like a freelancer and basically can do anything that an online business might need help with. So I started with that, and as I grew that business, I grew a Facebook group, and as I grew that Facebook group, I started sharing my journey as a virtual assistant. And with that, I found that other people were struggling in this sort of career model, and so I started landing celebrity clients, and I started like earning between sort of 5 and 10K a month. I was doing really well with it. So people started asking, "Whoa, how are you doing this?" So I created a course, and I now run a business called Digital Nomad Kit, where I train VAs and freelancers and have some courses on there, membership community. And then coronavirus happened, and I'm here. There you go.
Nice, well done. So that's like a lot of stuff that you're doing now that was a little bit different than when you were actually a VA. Tell us a little bit more about Digital Nomad Kit and what that entails. Who's it for? What results do people get from it?
Sure. It's really for anyone who wants to make that switch from working in a traditional job to working online. It really starts with a lot of the basics of how to sort of find what existing skills you have and how to bring them into a digital environment. And I love it because there's so many people who don't realize that they can work online until I show them like tons of ways that they can start helping people as a VA or a freelancer and can start getting paid literally right away for it. So that's really the target audience of people who are just starting out. I do help people further along the line too. I have some VAs who now have their own agencies. So they subcontract to a team of VAs themselves, and they kind of are a more one-stop service for business owners. So whether that's social media management, web maintenance, like they kind of cover all that. But Digital Nomad Kit is a community and education platform for people to just start their online business essentially.
Is that massive for you right now then? Because there's so many people, you know, during the COVID stuff that they want to work online. They need to. They've lost their job or whatever. So is this a big time for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of a couple of weeks ago when things were just sort of like getting a bit panicky for people, I had quite a big surge in email subscribers and people just asking me what the hell to do. And I run a challenge every few months, which is like a free intro course. And there was a pretty large one. People were really into that. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of leveling off now. I think people are getting used to this kind of like lockdown and just taking the time out, but definitely saw a surge, and there definitely is a bit more interest than usual.
That's awesome. So why don't, I guess before we jump into the content stuff, talk a little bit about what it takes for someone to become a virtual assistant or a freelancer. What's required?
Aside from the obvious things, having a laptop, having a smartphone, definitely some self-discipline, because it's not like going into a traditional job where you kind of know where you have to show up and your boss tells you what to do and you go home at the same time and you can switch off. You have to sort of stick to deadlines yourself. self-motivation as well. Like, why are you even doing it? That's what I always bring people back to. Like, why are you doing it? That's your motivation. If you want to stay at home with the kids, or if you want to travel, like, keep that in mind, because that can help you stay motivated. Definitely, I think it's beneficial if you're a natural problem solver, because virtual assistants and freelancers, I always say your biggest role is to be a problem solver. So even if you don't understand something, your job is to go and figure it out for your clients. And I think that's just a really good mindset to be in, of just like knowing that you can figure stuff out. And I think that's one of the issues I see a lot with new freelancers. They say, well, how can I do this if I don't know how can I help someone with MailChimp if I've only ever used ConvertKit? And I'm like, it's the same principles. Go and learn it. Like, it's your job to learn it now. So like, being a natural problem solver is a big one. And then obviously just like the ability to network, which I think is so overlooked, is a really big one. You can learn it for sure. And I do think that some people have a sort of natural flair for it. But the willingness to learn that, the willingness to put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable and start talking to people who maybe you feel a bit intimidated by it, that makes a huge difference when you're just getting started. And then just confidence to go out there and just say, hey, like, I only have a couple of skills, but I can help people with this. So I always say that to be an expert, you only have to be like a step ahead of someone. So if all you knew was how to use Microsoft Word, there are going to be people looking for people who need help, who can help them with Microsoft Word. So you only have to be a step ahead to be an expert. And I think that's a really good mindset for people to begin with, realizing they do have something to offer.
Awesome. And for anyone listening to this, the links for, following Hannah are going to be, we're going to talk about them at the end of this interview, but they're underneath of this video or nearby it. You'll find them on the website. So, Han, when you've been on this journey that you've been going through, how have you used content to grow your audience or grow your clients? Either way.
I could talk a bit about both. For the client side of things, because I think if you're trying to talk to freelancers here, definitely one of the big things that helped me was I started making tutorials about some of the tools I was using, or the tools that I was specializing in for clients. So in fact, I made one ConvertKit video. ConvertKit's an email marketing platform. I made one ConvertKit video that I think I had 3 or 4 clients come out of that. Because people watch these videos, right? And they say, okay, cool, I'm going to go learn how to do ConvertKit. And like, they don't want to be email marketing managers or like deal with any of that stuff. But that, when people are starting out, they think they can do everything. They go and watch the video and they go, oh man, that's intense. I'm just going to hire the person who made this video. So that was a really big one, was creating tutorials and stuff like that. And then obviously as a freelancer, you're in a really unique position to not only create content for the purposes of gaining clients or gaining a following, but also to create an affiliate income for yourself as well. There are so many tools that you'll use as a freelancer. So like from that one video, I still have a monthly income from ConvertKit as an affiliate. So tutorials are huge. What else did I do? I mean, I don't know if you would consider that content. I think it would be speculative, but
yeah.
I would often just create sort of long form posts on social media, explaining, explain processes. I would share them in Facebook groups where my target audience were hanging out. So I wasn't particularly pitching myself, but I was just sharing my expertise and sort of raising my authority, I guess, in my niche. What else did I do? I created freebies. I guess I'll move into what I started doing with the Facebook group and gaining a following, which inevitably led to my first clients, my first customers of Digital Nomad Kit. So the Facebook group, what I did with that was I focused on the content being community focused. So when I first opened the group, every 100 members, I would collectively get all the members to submit just a quick welcome video for like the 100th member to be welcomed in. And then I would paste it all together. So they felt like really included in that process, and they felt more sort of inclined to follow me and then maybe work with me later down the line. So I really like sort of collaborative content like that. Interviews just like this, like what we're doing right now. I interviewed a lot of people on my page and my group, and I'm trying to think what else. I think honestly, video content was like a huge one, and then repurposing that content as well across social channels. So like watching a video that I'd done, I would actually, before I had my own VAs, I would go through my own videos and I would pull out sort of like golden nuggets, like, oh, I really like that phrase I used, throw that on a quote card, put that on Twitter. Or I really like that concept because sometimes when you do a video, you'll talk about stuff that you didn't intend to talk about, and you're like, oh, that was really smart. I don't know where that came from. So you go back and capture that, and then put that into maybe a freebie, or another piece of content you can use elsewhere. So videos are really easy to do for content repurposing. I know that you do that yourself. And then gated content as well. So, you know, getting people to sign up for freebies or video series and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I've always noticed that you've done well is with your email marketing. You've sent out, first of all, consistent emails. Second of all, they're usually quite long, and there's like lots of different bits. Do you just want to talk for a second about how you structure your emails? Because I think you do such a good job.
Thanks. Yeah. I never used to have a structure for my emails. And it's only been probably the last year and a half, I guess, that I decided I wanted to have more sort of structure and consistency with it. But I normally start with a sort of some personal opinions on what's going on in the world, or what's going on with my business, or what's going on with me, because I feel like the way that I've built my business is very personal and people connect to me. So I still make sure I share a little part of me in the beginning section. And then we have the section what's on. So it's just like free events. So there's more content they can go in and grab for free. So that will be if I'm doing a sort of live Q&A or a workshop or something like that, or just someone else's event even that I think is really cool that people would enjoy. What else do we do in there? Then we have like some interchangeable sort of headers. Sometimes we do digital nomad life. That's not really relevant right now, so we've chucked that. But we also have, and then we have inner circle news. So the inner circle is my paid community. And so even in my whole email list for people who are not my students, they get the inner circle news, because I think it creates a little bit of FOMO, and they go, oh, maybe I want to join that community. That sounds really fun. So we share some wins from our students and just some cool stuff that's going on. I just make sure the non-negotiables are the personal part of them in the beginning, the what's on, if I'm selling anything that's new or there's a launch coming up, something there, and then the inner circle news. So that's kind of the structure. What
type of content, I think I know the answer to this, but what type of content do you prefer out of, you know, the main, what is it, 4? Audio, written, video, in person?
That's tough, actually, because I think I go through waves of being okay with all of them. I'll go through waves of like feeling super confident and love doing videos and stuff, and then I'll just go for a dry spell where I only want to do writing. I really enjoy the blog posts and the emails, but yeah, they're not. Yeah, I think probably video and written.
Yeah. Okay, I would have said a split between that two. Actually, you're so good at both of them. It's interesting that you said you did interviews, and I think you still probably do them occasionally. Interviews in your group. That's one of the things that I recommend, you know, in order to start creating some content, and then you repurpose. Like that's exactly what I teach. And I was going to, I don't know if you read that. I sent you that Google Doc the other day.
I haven't had a look through it yet, but I will. Yeah.
So that's about that. It's about like how to create, it's an authority content platform. So basically you're the person that's interviewing all these awesome people. So people are like, oh, she's legit. And then if you keep doing that for a while, it doesn't take very much for you to look super legit. And then you just need to repurpose those into bits of content.
And you're fabulous at that. I mean, do you remember when you did Idea Hustle and you interviewed James Altucher? Like you're really good at doing that, bringing together expert minds and becoming the authority on that topic, you know? It's cool.
Thanks, man. It's nice.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit more about, if you're a freelancer, how can you, I mean, you can do tutorials, you can do, you know, maybe some videos. If you're just looking for new clients, let's make an example, okay? Let's say that you are helping people with email marketing, and you're a VA that's helping people with email marketing. And you could literally, and this is important, I think, for people to know, because you and I know this, you can literally have a business just doing that, like a freaking ginormous, you could have a 6-figure business, probably more if you structured it differently. But like some people, and I really can't stress this enough, and I want to hear your thoughts on it too. Like you don't have to do everything when you're a VA. Sometimes you feel like you've got to be doing all the things because people need all the help, and you don't want to say no to someone who might give you money, but you're actually better off, right? Just sticking to one thing. Do you want to echo those sentiments?
I will. Echo the sentiments. Yeah, no, I agree absolutely. When I'm training my VAs, I always say you pick 2 to 3 things that you already are good at and excel in them, like, and you can charge premium rates for them because you're seen as an expert in that thing instead of everything. I always say if you're selling everything to everyone, you're selling nothing to no one. So I agree with you there. And so let's use that example you said. So if someone wanted to sell their services in email marketing, is that what you said?
Yeah, they're doing email marketing and they want more clients. How can they use content to get more clients?
Okay, so one we already covered, you can make tutorial videos. And if you are doing tutorial videos, I recommend doing them sort of short and sweet. And one way you can sort of gain research on what content to do is go into Facebook groups where your people are hanging out. Let's say it's life coaches. There's a bunch of life coach web Facebook groups. Go in and they have the search function in the groups. So let's say that you were doing email marketing or you were setting up sort of sequences in there. You can put keywords in the search there. So you could put email sequences or follow-up email, or even the names of the email marketing platforms that you use. So MailChimp or ConvertKit or whatever it is that you want to be using. You put that in there and you'll get like a lot of the posts coming up that people have, they've asked questions about that, or they have concerns, or they're trying to troubleshoot something. I always go through all of those things and I pull out like the top 10 main things people are having issues with, and that dictates the content that I then make. So that will dictate the videos I make. So it might just be like, how do I integrate Divi with MailChimp? Boom, there's a video, 2 minutes long. So then you can actually go into those Facebook groups too, and you're not promoting yourself. You're just saying, oh, I have a resource for that. Boom, there you go. You can post that everywhere. So that's one way. Another way, I would say quizzes would be pretty good for email marketing. You could just be like, you could do like a email list health check or something with a quiz. They could do something fun with that, get people's email addresses and then have a follow-up sequence, sort of selling your services later. Obviously your email marketing skills need to be on point. So your emails that you send out need to look amazing. You need to really showcase what you're doing because that's your portfolio. What else? I've seen some fun things from some VAs and freelancers where they actually I have one student, Barbara, she does inbox management and email marketing management, all the email stuff basically. And she does some pretty cool little short videos where, how you ever see those videos where it's like a time lapse of someone like cleaning a house and it's like super, satisfying to watch. She does stuff like that where she goes remotely into people's computers and cleans their desktop or goes through their inbox. So she does little videos like that and they're like, oh, it's like, those pimple popper videos. You're like, oh, that's great. So you can always create some fun content around it too. You could do some sort of, I don't want to call it fear-based, but I guess it is a little bit sort of like, are you making these 10 email marketing mistakes? You could make a little freebie on that because then people are like, oh, am I? Take my email address, I want to see.
Totally. And I think there's nothing stopping you from even going bigger and creating a podcast around your thing.
Or a mini course.
Yeah, mini course. Absolutely. And what's cool about, I think, being a freelancer is you have that option, right? You're not really tied to anybody. So you can be like, hey, I'm going to create a podcast. I'm going to do this marketing to get clients. And because you don't want just to be trading time for money, creating a little course of whatever it is
absolutely
great. Because some people they can't afford your rates or whatever. Want to figure out MailChimp, right? And there's online tutorials and all that stuff, but they might want a bit more help or
and also I think that if you've been demonstrating yourself as an authority in that area, people are more likely to want to learn from someone they like, So if you're showing up and you're sort of growing your network, they're just like, well, I like her vibe. I'd rather learn from her than some free thing or some guy on YouTube that I don't know. And actually just to expand on that as well, I think right now and with the current sort of global crisis situation, that's something I've been talking about with my freelancer students is that a really good way to sort of counteract the fact that there are some people out there right now who might not have the money to hire you, but they might have the money to pay for a one-off course to figure it out themselves. So you can also look at what's happening right now as an opportunity rather than oh, they can't hire me long term. But okay, what else can you create? It's an opportunity to think, oh, how else can I apply my skills to create content that can make me money?
Yeah, absolutely. So from the sound of it, and the more I talk to you, the more I feel like pretty much any VA business right now can be successful.
Absolutely.
And maybe even more so than usual.
I've seen a really big divide. It's probably about 50-50. I've got some of my VA students who are thriving and they have so many clients they're trying to hand them off. And I have some people who I think what's happened is I think some of it's a little bit of mindset. It's like they're buying into the fear, and they're like sort of like scarcity mindset of just like, oh, no one will pay me. And also not addressing the elephant in the room. Like, yeah, this is a thing that everyone's going through. But if you're not addressing that in your marketing, you're not talking about that on your profiles and your pages and your emails, then you're omitting reality. Like that's not an attractive trait for someone. And so they're just like falling into the abyss of the internet, you know, where they're just not showing up anymore because they're fearful. But then I look at the other side of these people who are thriving. They have continued to show up consistently. They've pivoted. They've changed their offers a little bit. They're offering consulting as well for companies who are going online for the first time. You just have to be a little bit inventive. So there's a huge divide. So I've been talking about that a lot lately because I'm like, this other 50% of people who are falling behind. I'm like, you're also talented and people need your skills now more than ever. Like, it's your duty to step up.
So what do you think? I mean, even right now we've got COVID, et cetera, and that's, like you said, there's a mindset there that holds people back. And I want to hear a little bit more about that. But I think even in normal times, what do you think holds people back from doing well in this industry?
I have been talking about this recently with someone else, and there are a few things, but I think the one thing that I have failed to address in my own work, which I'm going to talk about for the first time right now, is I think one of the biggest things is people not realizing their ability to connect in a very personable way with other people. And, you know, literally likability. I think it's likability. And I think that some people can be really triggered when they're working with a coach or something. If you tell them, well, that doesn't come across very likable, it's not very like personable. I don't feel attracted to you as a person through what you wrote. And it's like, can be very like attacking on someone's character. But I think there's an opportunity there to look at like, well, how do I present? Maybe I can get some feedback and take that on. So I'm actually right now navigating how to have those conversations with people better, because I feel like I'm failing people by not bringing that up. But I think like that is one of the biggest things. It's just like what's the word? Not reputation. There's a word for it. The feeling you give people, there's a word for that. But yeah, the feeling you give people when you're showing up, when you are creating content, and how you're creating content, and what words you use, I think makes a huge difference. If you're smiling in your picture or not, all these kinds of things make such a big difference. That paired with just self-confidence issues, like, oh, who would actually want this? I'm not skilled enough, or I need to know more before I can. And then I think one of the other really, really big ones is perfectionism. I think especially for freelancers and virtual assistants, I think it's even harder on them because they are problem solvers. They're trying to make everything right all the time. And so they feel like, oh, I need to have the website ready. I need to have the logo ready. I need to like have a really professional video intro. I need to like own all the best tools first and have them all set up. And I'm like, just talk to people, tell them what you do, show them that you can do it, and send them a PayPal link. Done. Like, first client, you learn on the job, you know? So I think a lot of people get caught up in that stuff. And I know that you're a big advocate for sort of just putting yourself out there before everything's, you know, in line, because it never will be in line. That's the thing. Like, everything's going to change, tools change, you're going to change who you want to work with, what you're offering. And I always say that's the bittersweet sweet truth as well. Is when you're initially starting, let's say you built your Facebook page, your freelancer Facebook page. Let's say you just started that page, and that's like the minimum online presence you have. And then people go, oh, I don't know what to do now. I forgot what I was going to say. What was I saying before? I was talking about perfectionism.
People want to have, well, it's an interesting point actually, because they want to have certainty, and especially with right now with the with the COVID, I don't know why I keep calling it that COVID, whatever.
The COVID.
But people want certainty, and from the sounds of it, the personality type that's drawn to being a VA needs certainty, is more of a perfectionist. It's pretty broad generalization, but that must cause that a lot of that 50% of people who are having real trouble right now, because the idea of clients falling away, I think sometimes, honestly, it's even just the idea of the drama is more of a problem than COVID itself, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I'm here in Mexico, and my life is pretty much the same. I wasn't going to go out that much. Like, I would have headed to the beach a few times. But like, things are not that different for me than they would have been anyway. I go to the supermarket, I have a mask, I wash my hands a lot more probably. But like, than that, it's not that different. But I find myself still weirdly stressed. I didn't sleep well the last few nights. And then I saw Connie posted something on Instagram this morning, and it was like, you know, if you're not sleeping well, blah, 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 this can cause stress, and this dream, you know, you can remember your dreams. And I was like, that's what's been happening to me. Like, I don't feel stressed, but I think that I am stressed. I just haven't allowed my body to like admit it.
Yeah. And I think honestly, like, same for me, like my life isn't all that different. I spend a lot of time at home, you know, I spend a lot of time at home in bed on my laptop. So for me, it's really not that different. But I still think that there is this sort of collective consciousness and just this awareness of what's going on that's like underlying. And that, I wouldn't call it panic, but I would call it just like, it's kind of just like the uncertainty, I guess, like what's going to happen? How's the world going to be different after this? Will my business succeed? All these things that are like, maybe we're not addressing vocally or, you know, on a daily basis, but they're definitely there. And I think like, it's totally normal to have that. You could be like the biggest billionaire, millionaire in the world. Everyone is feeling this. No one's exempt from it. And I think actually there's some solace in that to be like, everything is impacted to a degree and in different ways, but everyone is feeling it. And therefore like we're all together in it. And that kind of makes me feel like a lot better when I think about that. What's
your advice for freelancers who are really feeling it and in that space? So I know you mentioned about, you know, being yourself, that when you were talking about that and having that personal connection, the word authenticity came to me, you know, like really creating a business like you have. Really, I have to give you so much credit for how you built it. It's literally been on relationships and teaching people how to do that. Sure, that's definitely a thing that they need to do, but in this time, how can they do that more effectively? What's your advice?
That's a big question. I mean, like I said, I think one of the biggest things is, because I see a lot of virtual assistants that, you know, again, a big generalization here, but I know it myself because I've been a virtual assistant myself, is I always want to please the client. I want to make sure they're always happy. And I think there can be a tendency to not address things that might be troubling or might be stressful, including the virus that's going on right now. And that's why I said I think addressing the elephant in the room is really important, and addressing it responsibly, maybe being a little bit more careful about, you know, not making jokes about the kind of stuff that might be impacting people. You never know what's going on for someone else somewhere else in the world right now. But then I think like it's your job to sort of show up even more, especially for your existing clients. And I'm going to just go into a little tangent here if you don't mind. But I always say there's two types of VAs or freelancers. There's the executors and there's the innovators. The executors are the ones where someone says, hey, like, can you go do this data entry job for me? And can you throw this into this and throw that into Trello and then upload it? And the person executes. And that's their job. They're done. Whereas the innovative VAs take on more of a sort of, they're kind of like a little sidekick in the business. You can kind of have conversations with them. They can offer strategic input. And this is where I recommend people going towards, because you can charge a lot more for that. And it's just a lot more fulfilling, especially if you're working with people you enjoy working with. But those sort of innovative VAs, like they should be stepping up right now. They should be saying, hey, like I realize that maybe business hasn't been going so great recently. Here's some ideas on how we could alleviate that. You know, I could take on this and I could do this, or I could do that, or we could freeze our hours for this month, because, you know, a lot of VAs will go over their retainer packages and the client pays for it. Here, we can just freeze our package right now. This is still going to be covered. We're going to get out of this, you know, just reiterating that like this is not forever. And I think that's also something to be said about content creation as well, is that if you are losing clients right now, like let's face the truth, some people are losing clients right now and it sucks. But you also have to remember that this is temporary, and that you falling behind is like you're abandoning your business. You're not thinking about the longevity of it. So you can use this opportunity to start creating content to build a list, you know, because, you know, you're going to need leads at the end of this. It's a lead generation opportunity right now. Like you have so much time on your hands, especially if you lost clients, to start creating way more content and gaining yourself leads for once this is over. Because, you know, when this is over, do you know how many people are not going to want to go back to work? They're going to want to start working online. They're going to work from home. There is a huge opportunity. There's going to be a huge surge in the online space. So if you can start collecting leads right now, you're ensuring the longevity of your business instead of disappearing into the shadows. So that was just like a weird little tangent I went on. Sorry.
I love it. No, it was perfect. And you're right. You know, it's so important to market your business at all times when it's good as well. You know, you know, and I know that people, when things are going well, they stop marketing. And then it's like, oh crap, when they lose a client, oh, I've got to find another client and the pressure's on. Well,
consistency.
Making consistent content is the way to get around that, right? Making yourself indispensable, making yourself the go-to person for that thing. Yeah. I mean, you can be as go-to for like a ridiculously specific thing. It could literally be like MailChimp email design.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like very specifically, that's my thing, and do it. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I don't remember. I don't think I was going to say something.
Oh, I thought you were, okay. Well, so now they've got this downtime. I suppose there isn't really what should they be doing? And we've talked a little bit about content, but what could they be doing other than creating content to get clients?
I mean, calling out businesses, honestly, like I don't normally endorse cold marketing, but I think now is actually a good opportunity to do that because there are a lot of business owners. There are a lot of I know there's a lot of restaurants in the town that I'm in right now who didn't have any online system or no way to sort of do deliveries. They had the capacity to do deliveries, but because people were not going there in person and ordering and then leaving and coming back, they didn't have anything set up. So calling businesses, especially in your local area, we're all locked down in wherever we are right now. Reach out to your local community. Be like I've seen that you normally do deliveries and it'll be great to keep you in business. Like, hey, I can get you set up. Let's get your website with an ordering system, or let's get you set up with Just Eat or Deliveroo or whatever. And I think it's a really good opportunity to start calling people directly. And I think that because it's local, there's even, and because there is a sense of, even though we're all locked down and it's ironic, there is a sense of unity in local communities right now, I'm finding. And I think that you can kind of use that to your advantage in this sense, like, hey, I'm a local girl. I'd love to help you get set up. I don't want to see your business go out. I don't want to see you go down with this virus. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in calling people directly or emailing people directly if you can have access to their email addresses. Obviously still showing up like in Facebook groups, on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a really good one if you're trying to catch any culprits right now who are sitting at home. This is another cool thing. I think that social media is the best place for you to be showing up right now, and really the only place you can, because literally the whole world is sitting at home scrolling on social media. You have the world's attention right now, so you should be showing up way more than normal. Sharing your expertise, sharing about, how things are going to be different after this, sharing about how, hey, maybe after this all blows over, you'll want to start thinking about the fact that you don't want to have a career where you are going to be out of a job if something like this happens, or, you can start talking about, in my marketing, I'm talking big on, you've lost your job, that sucks, but there are opportunities online. The digital economy is booming still, and you can be a part of that. I'm not sure if that addressed your question fully, but I think honestly just showing up and talking to people, that's a big one. And I know it sounds so simple, but it's not for some people. I tell people, go in Facebook groups, have conversations with people, and they're like, what conversations? And I'm like, well, people are asking questions, right? Or, you see someone posting about something you're interested in, make a friendship. Honestly, as long as it's within your target audience, people always say, I don't want to mix business and personal. When you work online, there is a mix. It's just a fact. You have to get over that. And, inviting people into your network, because they're not always going to be in the position they're in. You're not always going to be in the position you're in. And you can start to ensure them of that as well. You are in a position where you can start working on the longevity of your business, and also ensuring other people have the longevity in their businesses too, or their situations. If we're talking about selling courses, for example. But yeah, not sure if that answered your original question.
It totally does. And we're going to wrap up, but this is the second to last thing I just wanted to cover. Is revenue streams. We alluded to it a little bit before, but VAs don't just have to do, charge whatever hourly rate for whatever the thing is that they're doing. Let's just discuss for a second, what types of other revenue streams can they have?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, affiliate revenue is a big one, because you are using all the tools that a lot of people use that are paid. So you can totally do a little tutorial on it, throw your affiliate link in, or when you get a new client, set them up on a new thing, just be like, hey, I'd love if you use my link. So that's a really easy one, especially any programs that have recurring commissions are really good. You can do consulting. A lot of people don't want to hire you. They just want to have your expert opinion for an hour. You can charge a lot of money for that. So consulting is a big one. Creating mini courses, and even full-blown courses if you like. But I see a lot of VAs and freelancers succeeding with sort of low-cost courses to the masses on very specific things. What else we got? I actually have a whole list of this somewhere. I wish I got it up with me.
I was just thinking of virtual summit. You could do a virtual summit or just charge for a bunch of interviews and not call it a summit. You know, you could just.
Yep. And then you could also do things like, let's say you help people setting up some of their documents that they need for their business. You could sell like a privacy policy, a terms and condition. You could sell a little pack. Like there's tons of little packages you could do. And then I think as well, because people assume that being a VA or freelancer means that you're working ongoing with people, you know, having smaller packages as well. Like, you know, you see these like daily themes in Facebook groups, like have a thing that's like, I'll create you 7 daily themes and boom, there's the price, one-off job. Lots of one-off jobs like that are really helpful right now, I think, as well. Project-based stuff is really good. Or another one I've seen a lot of VAs succeeding is creating SOPs for businesses. So maybe they don't want to hire you, but like, can you create the processes so that like my existing team know what to do? Or, you know, with your sort of tech expertise, can you figure out how to do all this stuff and just put it all on Trello for us? Trying to think what else.
I mean, that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
It's like
they're probably the main ones.
Yeah.
Affiliate marketing, products, and your actual services, obviously, and consulting.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to always look at putting out more offers and different offers to all the people that you've got, because people just go, I do this and you can work with me and it's this many hundreds of dollars a month. And it's like, cool, but you're never promoting that offer. You just have it on a website somewhere. B, people are all over the place needing different things all the time. You've got to shift it up. One of the things that Arnie Giske taught me a while ago was that he did 30 days of offers. And it might have been only $27 a day or whatever, but he made money every day for 30 days because he put offers out to people, whether it was by email, whether it was in person, whether it was a Facebook bot, whatever it was. Like, he just made sure that every day he made an offer. And it was his biggest month ever. And I think VAs totally have access to that.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think another thing to be said is that you'll get people who will follow you for years and just love what you do. But unless you offer something different, you never know what they need. Like I was selling I've been selling my VA course for years now. And I've had people on my list that just like, they open every email, they click every link, they're always active. They're really active in the group, but they never bought. And I'm like, come on guys, surely it's time to buy, right? I offered the mentorship, the one-on-one support, they bought that. Triple the price, and they bought that. So I'm like, they just needed the one-on-one support. So you need to meet people where they're at, and you don't often know where they're at. So you have to do a little bit of testing, research, ask people what they want, and go buy that.
Yeah. All right. So as usual, Han, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me. Nice to see your face
on the
too.
show. Yeah. Where can people follow you on social media?
The best place is probably my Facebook group, Next Level Virtual Assistants.
Amazing.
That's it.
Nice and easy. And there'll be a link to a few of Hannah's things underneath of this video, around this video, like I said earlier. A few of the things that we've referenced. Thanks for listening. Hannah, great to have you.
Thanks for having me.